I don't think there is a single villain organization more iconic than the Akatsuki. Whenever you look at the red cloud from their logo, you immediately recognize it as part of the Akatsuki, and the same thing goes for their matching outfits. What makes the Akatsuki so iconic is not just how great the character designs are, but the members themselves play such a huge role as villains in the Naruto series. They were introduced in the Search for Tsunade arc from Part 1 Naruto, starting with Itachi and Kisame, and then the Akatsuki have been the main antagonists for the majority of the series ever since. Most members were responsible for killing important characters in the Naruto series, which really impacted the story, like Asuma, Jiraiya, the Uchiha clan, Kakashi and Gaara, although they got resurrected afterwards. No other villain organization has really impacted the story as much as the Akatsuki have, which is what makes them so popular and recognizable. Unlike most other villain groups, where they had a family dynamic despite them being villains, the Akatsuki did not have this type of relationship. Every member had their own individual motives and were only using Akatsuki as a way to reach those goals, but they still managed to work well as a group and still had great interactions despite that. You have Itachi and Kisame's duo, which felt like a real friendship between them. Sasori and Deidara's duo was about their opposing views on art, which ties to their jutsu and their backstories, and you have Hidan and Kakuzu as the immortal duo, who didn't really get along well, but they were still menacing when they appeared. And then you also have the story of Pain and Konan as well. So in this video, I'm going to be looking through every member of the Akatsuki, and I'm going to try to rank them not based on their strength, but them as characters and how they were written individually. So first off, I'm going to start off with Deidara. I think out of all the members of the Akatsuki, Deidara is probably the most charismatic character. From his interactions with Sasori to his funny dynamic with Tobi, Deidara is always entertaining to watch on screen. However, I feel that he does lack some depth as a character, because his whole goal was pretty much to show off his art to everyone, and he became a terrorist because of his obsession with showing off his art. I wish we got more of him before he became a rogue ninja, but other than that, I think Deidara was very memorable. Upon his first introduction in Naruto Shippuden, his first fight was against Gaara as the Kazekage, and to see him defeat Gaara, which led to Gaara getting Shukaku extracted from him, which killed him in the process, this already made Deidara someone to be taken seriously, and I was glad that he didn't die in the first arc like Sasori did, because his fight against Sasuke was one of the best fights in Naruto, and you really get to see how smart of a fighter he is. So with all that being said, I think B tier is where I'll put Deidara. Next is Sasori. I think Sasori is easily the most underrated character in the Akatsuki, and deserves a lot more praise honestly in terms of his character and his strength. People tend to write him off because he lost to Sakura, even though Lady Chiro played a major role in that fight, and Sasori himself let himself get killed by those puppets. But what makes Sasori so great is that you get to see why he did the things he did, and his backstory does show you the reason why. He lost his parents during the war, and because of that he became obsessed with creating puppets, because puppets cannot die and they are eternal. He created puppets that resembled his parents to try and fill the void, but it didn't work. And since then, he became more obsessed with creating puppets. This is why Sasori constantly argues with Deidara, who thinks that art is something that lasts a moment, whereas Sasori prefers his art to stay eternal. His mind got so twisted that he would literally capture and kill hundreds of his enemies to turn them into human puppets, including the first Kazekage, and Sasori himself becomes a human puppet, showing that he has abandoned his humanity and emotions in order to become a puppet that will never die. But when he fights against a puppet that resembles his parents who died, he let himself get killed, showing that despite him becoming a puppet, Sasori still had some of his humanity left, and then he dies surrounded by the puppets he created to fill the hole in his heart. Then when you go into the war arc, when he gets reanimated, he instead entrusts his puppets to Kankuro, showing how he alone shouldn't preserve his puppets forever, but instead lets others inherit his art even after his death. It's a deep and beautiful character arc, and I think I'll put Sasori at A tier. It's not enough to be put into S tier because Sasori didn't have much screen time compared to the other members. Next is Orochimaru. Although he wasn't part of the Akatsuki for very long, he was still part of the group at a certain point. Orochimaru was terrifying, creepy, but also really cool at the same time. When he first appeared in the Chunin exams, you really felt a sense of tension and terror when he went up against Team 7 in the Forest of Death. Team 7 really could have died there, and this really raised the stakes in that arc, and then literally in the next arc, he was responsible for killing the third Hokage, which depowered the village, and he was also the main driving force of Sasuke leaving the village, which majorly impacted the story of Naruto. What I also like is that we are shown why Orochimaru became obsessed with trying to achieve immortality, because throughout his years as a shinobi, he has consistently seen people die due to war, including his parents and Tsunada's younger brother, and this affected him to the point of trying to surpass death by constantly jumping from one vessel to another to avoid death. He is by far one of the best villains in the Naruto series, and one of the most impactful characters, so I think Orochimaru will be the first S tier on this list. Moving on to Hidan, I think in terms of character, he is one of the weaker characters in the Akatsuki, but what I can appreciate from Hidan is that he played a huge role in Shikamaru's story arc. The fact that Hidan was responsible for the death of Asuma already makes Hidan memorable because this led to Shikamaru struggling and developing as a character after he lost his sensei. Although Hidan lacked depth as a character, He at least had personality, and he did have a great dynamic going on with Kakuzu, with them both being an immortal duo. I also like that the reason why Hidan joined the Akatsuki was so he can be given the opportunity to kill as much people as he wants because of his devotion to Jashin. I just wish that we learn more about the way of Jashin and its connection to the overall lore of Naruto, so I think Hidan will have to go in the B tier. Next is Kakuzu. I think Kakuzu is similar to Hidan in that he lacks depth, but as an antagonist he was really cool to watch. His jutsu was very creative in that he could control all 5 chakra natures by taking the hearts of other people, and he was one of the few ninja to have survived the fight against Hashirama, the first Hokage, which I always thought was very cool about him. He only joined the Akatsuki as a way to earn more money, which is what he's obsessed with, and this is what also makes him memorable individually, because he never cared about world peace or anything like that. Nor did he lose anyone precious to him when he was growing up. He just cared about money and that was it. I just wish that we got more of him as a character, but because of his cool design and him being one of the most deadliest members of the Akatsuki, I think I'll put him at the bottom of the B tier. Now next we have Itachi, and I mean where else other than S tier can I put this character? There is so much to like about Itachi, it's actually crazy. His jutsu, his character design, his backstory, his development, his aura, the list goes on why Itachi is regarded as one of the best characters in all of Naruto. He was a major part of Sasuke's character journey, and just learning the truth behind the Uchiha massacre is one of the best plot twists in Naruto, and it really changes your view on Itachi as a character, and you truly see what he truly valued, and now Sasuke above anything else. The fact that he was willing to kill his entire clan in order to prevent a potential fourth war from occurring, and to also bear all the hate from all those who didn't know the truth, including Sasuke, shows how much self-sacrifice he put himself through, which is what makes him so beloved in the Naruto community. The scene where he says he will always love Sasuke is one of the most emotional scenes in Naruto, and was a brilliant way to wrap up his character arc. Because ever since he was young, he always tried to do everything himself, which is why he decided to kill the clan, and try to bear all the hate from the village and Sasuke. But in the war, he now realizes he shouldn't bear everything himself, so he entrusts Naruto in saving Sasuke and stopping the war. He was also a major part of Naruto's journey too, because Itachi was the one who taught him what it really means to become Hokage, which also shaped Naruto into what he is today. So Itachi was important to both Naruto and Sasuke's journeys, and their interactions with Itachi is part of what led them both to fight over the title of Hokage. Itachi is not only one of the most well-written characters, but he's also one of the most impactful characters as well. This is going to be an easy S tier. Next up is Kisame. I always thought Kisame was a very interesting character, and was always fun to watch on screen. I loved his Samehada swords, and I loved his relationship with Itachi as a duo during their days in the Akatsuki. Although the Akatsuki didn't see each other as friends or family, you could tell that Itachi and Kisame had a lot of mutual respect for each other, and they did work well together as a duo unlike the other ones. The two of them were also quite similar, in that they both killed their own comrades, showing their immense loyalty to their villages. Itachi killed the Uchiha clan to protect the village and Sasuke, and Kisame killed his teammates, including his potential love interest, to prevent any intel from his village from being leaked to the enemy. You also get more depth in his character when you find out that his master, the previous wielder of Samehada, turned out to be a traitor to his village, and this led to Kisame killing him and taking Samehada for his own. So because he was betrayed by his master, he felt that the ninja world was full of lies and deception, which is why he joined up with Obito in the Akatsuki, because he also wanted to go to the world of dreams in the infinite Tsukuyomi, as he had already given up on the world. His death scene has to be one of the best deaths in Naruto as well, because he was willing to give up his own life just so that the Akatsuki would succeed in the war. It was a death so respectable that my guy decided he would remember him for the rest of his life. Kisame's one defining trait is his immense loyalty, and that's what makes him such a good character. I think I'll put him in the A tier. And next up is Zetsu, and I'm going to be really honest, I didn't really care much about Zetsu. I thought the white Zetsu was a bit bland and just seemed to always observe and react to the fights that were going on. Black Zetsu though was a bit more interesting because of his ties to Kaguya and how he is supposed to represent the deception and lies that the whole ninja world has been following ever since he corrupted the Uchiha Stone tablet. But I personally wasn't a big fan of the infamous plot twist about it being his plan all along to bring Kaguya back to life. I feel that Madara should have been the final villain, and I honestly would have preferred it if Black Zetsu just stayed as Madara's will incarnate. So I think Zetsu is going to be the first C tier on this list. Next is Konan. I feel that Konan had a lot of potential as a character in the Akatsuki, but I feel that compared to the other members, her character just felt quite bland and didn't add much to the group, which was disappointing because she was one of Jiraiya's students alongside Naruto, who I will get to in a minute, but it seemed like all she did was just tag alongside Pain whenever they were on screen. The one time we do get to see her time to shine was during her fight against Obito, which was a great fight, but then she dies and then that's it. I felt it was such a waste to kill her off so soon, because her character could have developed more during the war arc. Maybe she could have fought alongside Naruto in the war as a fellow student of Jiraiya, but that opportunity was wasted. So because of her massive wasted potential, I think I'll put her in the C tier. And next up is Pain. I honestly can't think of anything that was wrong with Pain. His character design is cool, his Rinnegan was cool, and his speeches were cool as well. The Akatsuki just wouldn't be the Akatsuki without Pain. I personally think that Pain is the best villain in all of Naruto, and also one of the best villains we have in Shonen as a whole. I loved how he served as a foil to Naruto in that they both started out as Jiraiya students, but his methods of obtaining peace was the direct opposite of how Naruto wanted to achieve peace. He also had one of the best backstories in the series as well, with him losing his parents to Hidden Leaf Ninja, and then killing his best friend Yahiko after he was tricked by Hanzo and Danzo. Nagato's story was about struggle and loss, and losing faith in humanity for trying to bring peace. And Pain was also responsible for the death of Jiraiya, which is one of the most iconic deaths in anime, and it really challenged Naruto as a character on how true peace can be achieved. You have his speech as well, talking about the cycle of hatred, and even left Naruto with no real answers, and Naruto was always the one who would try and talk to his enemies in order to change them. Naruto thought killing Pain for revenge would bring peace to the ninja world, so Pain had to make him realize that taking revenge would only carry on the cycle, because unlike Naruto, Nagato has lived through the horrors of war ever since he was a child. Once he is defeated by Naruto, Nagato decides to entrust his hopes onto Naruto, and once more tries to have hope in achieving world peace, and ends up giving his life to bring back all the Hidden Leaf Ninja he killed, despite the Hidden Leaf being the reason why he lost his parents and his best friend, and that's what makes his death so great. This is going to be another S tier. And lastly, we have Obito. Obito is definitely up there with Pain as one of the best villains in Naruto, and I feel he is still very misunderstood and slept on for how great of a villain he really is. Like Pain, Obito was served as a thematic foil to Naruto, in that they both were untalented genin who both wanted to become Hokage, but due to their losses and their hardships, they went on completely different paths. Naruto kept on enduring and overcame his hatred, because of the friends and bonds he has kept, whereas Obito let his hatred take over to the point where he rejected the world as a whole, and he wanted to go to the world of dreams onto the infinite Tsukiyomi, because he gave up on people finding peace. And because of his losses and his struggles, he has a whole identity crisis, where he starts a new life under the name of Madara, and he tried to get rid of his past identity as Obito Uchiha. But after his fight with Naruto, a character who always kept hold of his identity and his ninja way, Obito managed to regain his own self again, and decides to sacrifice himself to save Naruto in hopes of carrying on his will and dream of becoming Hokage. It was a beautiful way to conclude Obito's character arc, as he finally became Obito Uchiha again, and he died through means of sacrifice, which was how the previous Hokage lost their lives. Obito had one of the most tragic stories in Naruto, and was also one of the most well-developed characters in Naruto as well. I put Obito in the S tier. So that is my ranking for every Akatsuki member in terms of their characterization. Only 2 were in the bottom tier, but the S tier had the highest number with 4 members. So generally speaking, I think the Akatsuki members were well written, with very distinct personalities and abilities, making them very memorable in the Naruto series. Although I wish Konan and Zetsu were better written, I still don't think they were bad characters at all. How would you rank the Akatsuki members? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more Naruto content, please like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.